All right. I want you to picture a nursing home, just, for a second.
Okay, got it.
You're probably seeing a pretty quiet room, right? Maybe some soft music, that sort of antiseptic smell,
Yeah.
a very gentle, maybe fragile atmosphere.
Right, that's the standard image. A bit sterile, very calm.
Exactly. Now, picture the person who walks in to help an 80-year-old resident out of bed. That's probably a nurse, right? In scrubs, looking a little bit tired.
Yeah, overworked, stressed, and statistically probably nursing a back injury of their own.
Okay, now just completely erase that image. Instead, I want you to picture a guy who looks like he just walked off the stage of a Mr. Universe competition.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking biceps the size of softballs, traps up to his ears, just absolutely shredded. And he walks in, flashes this huge smile, and then gently scoops up an 80-year-old woman like she weighs nothing.
It sounds like a pitch for a reality TV show. Pumping Iron, the geriatric edition.
It really does. But according to the research we're looking at today, this is not reality TV. This is a very real and kind of desperate economic experiment happening in Japan right now.
And that's what we're digging into. We've got a slide deck here called Macho Care Solves Japan's Crisis.
Right. And while that headline, bodybuilders in nursing homes, sounds like a gimmick, the data underneath it is incredibly serious.
It is. Japan is often called the canary in the coal mine for global aging. So what happens there is, well, it's a preview for the rest of us.
Exactly. So today, we're doing a deep dive into this whole macho care phenomenon. We're going to look at the demographic data that made it necessary, the medical reasons why care work is so physically destructive.
And then the case study, this company, Visionary Co., that is literally hiring muscle to save its industry.
It's a fascinating look at how you solve a labor crisis by just completely reimagining who the labor is supposed to be.
So where do we start?
Let's start with the problem before we get to the bodybuilders. I'm looking at the first page of our source material, and the title is The Mathematics of Collapse.
Not a subtle title.
No, not at all. But, the data doesn't really allow for subtlety. Look at this graph on the left, the scissors graph.
I see it. It runs from 2007 to 2025.
And it looks exactly like a pair of open scissors. You have this one black line just crashing downwards. That's the working age population.
And then you have an orange line shooting up at a 45-degree angle. That's the necessary care workers.
And that huge orange triangle right in the middle where they pull apart.
Yeah.
That's the gap.
And the source puts a number on it, a frighteningly specific number.
Yeah. By 2025, which, let's be honest, is basically now.
It is now.
Japan is projecting a labor shortage of 370,000 care workers.
Just pause on that number, 370,000. That's not a few understaffed shifts. That is systemic failure. That's a population of a mid-sized city just gone from the workforce.
And the demographic sidebar here explains why. The fertility rate is just 1.36.
Which is catastrophic. I mean, you need a rate of 2.1 just to keep your population stable. So Japan is shrinking. And it's shrinking fast.
Meanwhile, almost 29% of the population is over 65.
So mathematically, the system is breaking. It's an inverted pyramid that's getting really, really wobbly. Fewer young people trying to support a massive growing older population.
Correct. And when a government sees that, they try to pull policy levers to fix it, right? But the next slide explains why those levers are basically jammed.
I like the metaphor they use here.
Me too. We cannot fill the bathtub if the drain is open.
It's a perfect analogy. You can solve a labor shortage in two ways. One, fill the tub, import labor. Two, plug the drain, keep the workers you have.
Japan tried the first one, right? The EPA and technical intern programs.
They did. They tried opening the doors. But looking at the data, it failed.
Yeah.
Hard. By 2016, only about 2,000 EPA candidates had actually entered Japan.
Wait, 2,000? When they need almost 400,000? That's not even a drop in the bucket.
It's barely a mist. And the reason was friction. The slide points to the JLPT N4 language exams. Japanese is an incredibly difficult language. Now imagine trying to learn technical medical Japanese.
While also dealing with a massive cultural shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, the barrier to entry was just way too high.
The faucet is just dripping, not flowing.
Okay, so what about the drain? Why are so many people leaving the industry?
This is the domestic exodus. The turnover rate is 16.5% a year. That is incredibly high churn.
And I'm looking at the top reasons for quitting. Number 1, marriage and childbirth, which makes social sense. Number 2, low salary. We hear that a lot.
Of course, but look at number 3.
Physical burnout, low back pain. 14.3%.
And that right there is the key insight for this entire deep dive. Everyone talks about salary, But the physical toll is the silent killer of retention. You really can't pay someone enough to destroy their back.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, if you wreck your spine at 25, you're out of the workforce for good.
Exactly. Which leads us to the next section, which really digs into the physics of why this happens. It's called The Hidden Enemy and the Physics of Chair.
This part was really eye-opening for me. It cites a recommendation from NIOSH.
The National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health.
And there's this huge warning sign on the slide, the 35 lbs limit. It says caregivers should not manually lift more than 35 pounds without assistance.
35 pounds. Just think about that. That's a medium-sized dog, a toddler.
My leg probably weighs 35 pounds. Most adult human beings weigh a lot more than that.
Exactly. That's the core of the problem. Every time you move a 150-pound patient from a bed to a wheelchair, you are exceeding that safety limit by 4 or 5 times.
But isn't lifting a person different from lifting, say, a barbell at the gym?
It's actually worse, much worse. The slide breaks it down into 3 risk factors: force, repetition, and posture.
Okay.
A barbell is balanced and compact. A person is dead weight, they can be slippery, they might spasm, and you're almost always lifting in an awkward position, bending over a bed, twisting in a tiny bathroom.
That's the posture element, the awkward positioning.
Right, so the job is, by its very nature, a physics problem that the average human body just isn't built to solve safely day in and day out.
Which brings us to a really important point on the next slide. We often hear care work called unskilled labor.
Which is one of the biggest misconceptions in the economy. This slide, care as an algorithm, just completely destroys that myth.
It really does. It shows this flowchart, the algorithmic decision process. Let's just walk through it. This is what a caregiver is computing in their brain in seconds.
Okay, I'm the caregiver. I walk into the room. First step, mobility assessment. Question 1, can the patient bear weight?
Let's say, no, their legs are too weak.
Then you immediately follow the arrow to the orange box. Use mechanical lift. End of story. You don't try to be a hero.
Okay, but what if they can bear some weight?
Then you go to question 2. Can the patient follow directions? This is crucial. If they have dementia or they're confused, they might panic mid-transfer.
That sounds incredibly dangerous. So if the answer is no.
Straight back to the orange box, mechanical lift.
And the last one, question 3. Does the patient have sitting balance?
If not, they fall. So again, no, mechanical lift. It's only if you get a yes on all 3 of those questions that you can move to a standby assist.
So it's this constant simulation of physics, physiology, and cognition for every single interaction.
Exactly. It's an intellectual job, but here's the trap. Even if you run the algorithm perfectly, sometimes the lift is broken, or it's on the other side of the building, or the patient is falling right now and you just have to catch them.
So the human body becomes the tool of last resort.
And that takes us right back to the 35-pound limit. When the system fails, the caregiver's back pays the price.
Which is the perfect setup for the twist in this story. We've got a demographic nightmare. Retention is terrible because people's backs are breaking. The job is physically impossible. Enter the Macho Care solution.
And this is where we get to page 5. Functional synergy muscles as PPE.
PPE as in personal protective equipment, like a mask or gloves. But here it's saying the muscles are the equipment.
It's a total reframing. We usually think of bodybuilding as purely aesthetic, right? It's about looking good on a stage.
For sure. But this approach says, no, that muscle is functional safety equipment.
I love this quote from a guy named Takuya Usui. He's a care worker and a bodybuilder. He says, I was told I can actually put my muscles to use in this job. I thought, well, let's give it a try.
It's so simple, but so profound. Instead of trying to lower the weight of the patient, which is impossible, you raise the capacity of the worker.
Exactly. And the slide breaks down the biology of why this actually works. Why is a bodybuilder a safer caregiver?
First thing it lists is core activation.
Right. Bodybuilders spend years learning how to brace their core. They create this internal weightlifting belt that protects the spine. They do it instinctively.
Second is power source. It points to their legs.
The golden rule of lifting. Lift with your legs, not your back. Bodybuilders have incredibly strong legs. Their strength threshold is so high that lifting 35 pounds feels relatively light.
It's like the difference between a little sedan and a pickup truck trying to tow a trailer. One is redlining, the other is barely trying.
That's a perfect analogy. They aren't straining near their max capacity the way a normal person would be.
And the third point is proprioception.
Which is just a fancy word for body awareness. They have disciplined posture. They know the instant their back starts to round and they can correct it immediately.
So biologically, they're kind of built for the job. But does this work as a business model? That's the real test, right?
And that brings us to the case study on page 6, the Macho Care experiment.
So we're looking at this company, Visionary Co., and its president, Yusuke Niwa.
Now look at the before status. This is typical. 0 inquiries, low interest. The president admitted they weren't even getting applications.
And then the after status in 2024.
A 25% increase in applications, I mean, that is huge in a labor shortage.
And it's not just more people, it's who started applying. The slide says there was a surge in Gen Z, people in their 20s and 30s.
The holy grail. Everyone wants young workers. And get this? Their recruitment costs actually dropped.
Oh.
Brand impact. The Macho Care idea went viral. TV spots, articles. People started coming to them. It stopped being depressing nursing home work and became that crazy cool gym job.
But wait a minute, getting them in the door is one thing, but what about the drain, the turnover? A bodybuilder's lifestyle is demanding. They need to train, they need to eat a ton.
This is the genius part. Page 7, the protein retention model.
Protein retention model. I love that name.
It's not just clever, it's a brilliant contract. They literally integrated the employee's passion into their job.
Okay, let's look at the benefits package. First up, paid training.
But not classroom training. Staff are paid to work out at a gym for up to 2 hours of their shift.
Hold on. They get paid their normal wage to lift weights.
Yes. Think about it. If their muscles are their PPE, then working out is just equipment maintenance. The company is paying them to maintain the tools of the trade.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Usually your job is the thing that stops you from going to the gym.
Yes, exactly. Next, nutritional support. Subsidies for protein shakes and supplements.
Which is huge because that stuff is not cheap.
And competition sponsorship. The company pays for them to enter bodybuilding competitions.
And the last one here, dual career. It says employees are treated as both caregivers and 7C's athletes.
Right, 7C's is their brand. So you aren't just a nurse's aide, you're a sponsored athlete who also does care work. It completely changes your identity. It gives you status.
And the logic, as the slide says, is that by treating fitness as a job requirement, they actively prevent the physical burnout.
Precisely. They're attacking the root cause, the back pain and burnout, by subsidizing the prevention, which is strength and fitness. They plug the drain.
Which brings us to the triple win outcome on page 8. This sums up why this is a scalable model, not just a funny news story.
It's a triangle. Point 1 is the patient.
Like greater physical safety, it's just safer to be lifted by someone strong than someone who's struggling.
Reduced fall risk, and I love this one, increased social engagement.
Yeah, apparently the residents love it. It's fun.
Of course it's fun. It breaks up the monotony. Instead of a stressed out nurse, you get these energetic, positive, super strong young people. It brings a whole new energy into the building.
Point 2, the staff. We just covered it. Their career funds their passion. They get stable work. They stay healthy.
And point 3, the industry.
It gives them a recruitment blueprint based on branding and culture, instead of just waiting for the government to maybe change immigration policy.
It proves you can solve the problem yourself if you're creative enough.
And just to show this isn't a one-off, the slide notes that Visionary Co. now operates 29 facilities.
29, that's scale. That proves the model actually works. It's not just a concept.
So let's wrap this up. We started with the mathematics of collapse, that scary scissors graph.
Then we found the hidden enemy, that 35-pound limit that was breaking everyone's backs.
We saw that the traditional solutions, like immigration, just weren't working. The drain was too wide.
And then we found this completely unexpected cultural solution, the bodybuilders.
By treating muscle as functional PPE, they turned a weakness of the industry into a core strength.
And we proved it works with the triple win. Safer patients, happier staff, and a growing business. It's a perfect example of lateral thinking.
It is. They didn't just ask, how do we find more caregivers? They asked, who actually enjoys lifting heavy things, and how can we make this job appeal to them?
And we should, credit the sources here on the final page that built this whole narrative.
Absolutely. So this all leaves me with one final question.
Yep.
For you and for everyone listening.
Okay.
Japan solved this by merging a hobby, bodybuilding, with labor, caregiving. It's a total reimagining of who the ideal worker is.
It totally blurs the line between work and lifestyle.
So, what other struggling industries could be saved by doing the exact same thing? What other hobbies are out there just waiting to be turned into a workforce solution? Could we solve, I don't know, the pilot shortage with gamers who are great with simulators?
Or the agricultural crisis with CrossFitters who love intense outdoor work? That is a fascinating question. I'll be thinking about that one.
Me too. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of macho care. It's been a heavy lifting episode, literally.
Always a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.